Keanu Charles Reeves, one of Hollywood's most enduring and beloved figures, was born on September 2, 1964, in Beirut, Lebanon. His parents, Patricia Taylor, a showgirl and costume designer from England, and Samuel Nowlin Reeves, a geologist from Hawaii, were a part of a diverse and transient world that Keanu would soon experience firsthand. His father, Samuel, was an elusive figure in his life, leaving the family when Keanu was just 3 years old. Raised primarily by his mother, Keanu's early years were filled with a series of relocations across different countries, from Lebanon to Australia, then back to New York City before finally settling in Toronto, Canada. In his youth, Keanu was exposed to a wide range of cultures and environments, a foundation that would influence his outlook on life. His mother, a strong-willed woman who had once worked in the arts and theatre, was a constant presence in his life, though she too would go through a series of relationships, each bringing new challenges and changes to their environment. Keanu's early exposure to instability would become a hallmark of his journey, teaching him resilience and adaptability at a very young age. In Toronto, Keanu began his education and encountered a different kind of challenge, being an outsider. As a young boy, Keanu was often described as an introvert, a child who preferred observing others rather than seeking attention. He struggled with fitting in, a feeling not uncommon among children of divorced parents who move often. His early years in school were marked by an awkwardness that most children encounter, but it was amplified by his status as a perpetual outsider. Despite his quiet nature, there was something magnetic about Keanu. His schoolmates recall his shyness, paired with an underlying coolness, a hint of something deeper within him that made him stand out. But Keanu's true personality began to shine through in the creative avenues he explored. Despite being introverted, he found solace in sports and acting. His love for hockey began in childhood, a sport he excelled at and played throughout his younger years. Though he never sought the limelight, Keanu had a natural ability on the ice, playing in his teens on a competitive level. Hockey wasn't just a sport to him, it was an escape, a place where he could be free, moving swiftly across the rink with a team that had his back. His passion for the game gave him a sense of purpose and stability amid the many changes in his personal life. Yet, it was the stage that truly captured Keanu's imagination. He discovered acting while attending a local theatre production and soon after enrolled in drama classes. The world of theatre offered him something different, a chance to express emotions he often kept bottled up and an opportunity to be someone else, even if only for a few hours. The transition from the world of hockey to acting wasn't an immediate one, but it was clear that Keanu found something meaningful in the art form. His first performance was in a school production of Romeo and Juliet, where he played the role of Tybalt. It was a pivotal moment, one that ignited his passion for acting and solidified his desire to pursue a career in the theatre. For the first time, Keanu felt like he could express himself freely. Theatre, unlike sports, gave him the space to dive deep into his emotions, to understand different perspectives, and to channel the many complex feelings he had kept inside. Keanu's mother, Patricia, was a significant influence on his creative pursuits. A woman who had spent much of her life in the entertainment world, she encouraged Keanu to pursue his artistic talents, even though the family struggled financially. Patricia had no illusions about the difficulty of an acting career, but she believed in her son's potential. She supported him as he began taking on more roles in local plays, giving him the guidance and belief he needed to continue on this path. Patricia's belief in her son's abilities and her ability to weather life's storms with grace would become a model for Keanu as he grew older and faced his own set of challenges. Despite the emotional turbulence of his early life, Keanu found solace in the connections he made along the way. His mother's relationships with different partners exposed Keanu to various father figures, though none of them were consistent enough to provide a lasting presence. These experiences may have contributed to his deep sense of empathy and understanding of human nature. He didn't need to be the center of attention. but rather preferred to observe and understand others. His friendships, especially during his teenage years, were built on honesty, loyalty, and an understanding of the complexities of human relationships. In high school, Keanu attended the Etobicoke School of the Arts in Toronto, a place where his creative side flourished. It was here that he fully committed to pursuing acting, a decision that would set the course for the rest of his life. But even as he immersed himself in drama and stage performances, Keanu's world was far from perfect. He was still a young man in search of stability, identity, and belonging. Toronto may have become home, but Keanu always seemed like a wanderer, someone who was never fully grounded. This sense of restlessness would stay with him for much of his adult life, a feeling that he later discussed in interviews when reflecting on his journey. During his high school years, Keanu experienced another transformation, one of emotional depth and introspection. He began to question the world around him, his place in it, and the meaning of life itself. This period of self-reflection would later inform his spiritual and philosophical outlook on life. He began to read more, devouring books on philosophy and psychology, which added another layer to his already multifaceted character. Even then, Keanu was deeply interested in understanding the human condition, the workings of the mind, and the challenges we all face as individuals. Keanu's early years, marked by his mother's resilience, a nomadic lifestyle, his love for sports, and his burgeoning passion for acting, shaped him into the man he would later become. His experiences of uncertainty and the shifting nature of his family dynamics led him to develop a sense of independence, but also a quiet empathy for others. He was becoming someone who understood that life is not just about success or fame, but about the connections we make with others and the meaning we find in our own lives. The foundation had been laid. As he prepared to leave Toronto for Los Angeles, Keanu had already experienced the complexities of life, loss, change, and the struggle to understand one's place in the world. Yet through it all, he retained a quiet optimism and an unshakable belief in the value of human connection, no matter where life would take him. As Keanu Reeves entered his teenage years, he faced a period of growth and self-discovery that would shape his future both personally and professionally. Though he was still grappling with the instability of his family life and the challenges of adolescence, it was during these years that Keanu began to develop the traits that would later define his public persona. His experiences during this time would lay the groundwork for his early career and the philosophy he would carry with him throughout his life. Keanu attended several schools during his youth, each move bringing with it new challenges and experiences. At first, Keanu found it difficult to fit in with the other kids. His quiet demeanor and somewhat unconventional background made him feel like an outsider, and it was often difficult for him to forge lasting relationships. Yet, as he grew older, he found solace in a group of friends who shared his interest in the arts. This group of friends introduced him to the world of acting, something that would change his life forever. In high school, Keanu's academic performance was not particularly exceptional. He had a reputation for being a laid-back student, uninterested in conforming to the traditional educational system. While he excelled in some subjects, such as English and history, he struggled with others, often feeling disconnected from the rigid structure of school life. This sense of alienation only fueled his desire to find something meaningful outside of the classroom. It was in the world of drama that Keanu truly found his calling. At the Etobicoke School of the Arts, Keanu discovered the transformative power of performance. He was drawn to the stage not only because of his love for storytelling, but because it provided him with a safe space where he could express his emotions and frustrations. Here, Keanu learned to channel his deep introspection and quiet nature into his craft. He began to understand the power of observation and empathy, recognizing that the act of becoming someone else on stage allowed him to better understand the human experience. It was here that Keanu's true passion for acting blossomed, and he began to set his sights on a career in the arts. In addition to drama, Keanu was also involved in sports during his teenage years, particularly hockey. He was an excellent player and had a love for the game that ran deep. His passion for hockey not only kept him physically active, but also provided him with a sense of camaraderie and belonging. Although he was a quiet kid, hockey allowed him to forge meaningful connections with others who shared his interests. It was during these years that Keanu learned the value of teamwork, resilience, and discipline, qualities that would serve him well in the years to come. As Keanu entered young adulthood, he found himself at a crossroads. Despite his growing love for acting, he still struggled with the fear and self-doubt that often accompany the pursuit of an unconventional career. His family's financial instability and the lack of a permanent father figure in his life had instilled in him a sense of independence, but also a deep-seated fear of failure. Keanu often questioned whether pursuing a career in acting was the right choice, especially given the immense uncertainty that came with it. His passion for the craft, however, kept him moving forward. It was around this time that Keanu began to experience the first taste of professional success. His early roles in Canadian television productions, such as Hangin' In, 1981, and FX The Series, 1996, helped him build a name for himself within the industry. These early acting gigs were small but important stepping stones, offering Keanu a glimpse of what a career in acting could be like. It was during this period that he realized that his future lay in the world of entertainment, and he began to pursue acting with a renewed sense of purpose. Though Keanu was now living in Toronto, his career ambitions were pulling him toward the bright lights of Hollywood. He knew that if he wanted to make it as an actor, he needed to take a leap of faith and move to Los Angeles, where opportunities were more abundant. It was a decision that would change his life. In 1984, Keanu moved to California with little more than his acting talent and a few connections. Like many aspiring actors, he faced the harsh realities of life in Hollywood, from auditioning for roles that never materialized to struggling with an uncertain future. At the same time, Keanu was confronting personal challenges. His mother, who had always been his rock, was facing her own struggles, and Keanu was torn between his loyalty to her and his desire to forge his own path. He often found himself balancing the need to succeed with the desire to help support his family. Despite the personal and professional challenges he faced, Keanu continued to persevere. His resilience and determination were evident in his work ethic and commitment to his craft. In the early stages of his career, Keanu took on a variety of roles in film and television. His breakout role came in 1986 when he was cast as the lead in River's Edge, a dark and gritty drama about a group of teenagers struggling with their own moral dilemmas. The film showcased Keanu's ability to portray complex and layered characters, and his performance earned critical acclaim. It was the first indication that Keanu had the potential to become a major star. However, despite his rising fame, Keanu remained grounded. He never sought the spotlight for its own sake, and he was careful about the roles he took on. Unlike many of his peers, Keanu was not driven by a desire for fame or wealth. Instead, he was motivated by a deep passion for acting and a genuine interest in telling meaningful stories. His ability to remain true to himself, despite the pressures of the entertainment industry, was one of the qualities that endeared him to fans and fellow actors alike. As Keanu moved through his late teens and early 20s, he continued to refine his acting skills and expand his range. He began to explore more diverse roles, from comedies to action films. But he never lost sight of the fact that acting was about more than just entertainment. It was a way to connect with people, to tell stories that resonated with others, and to explore the complexities of the human experience. This perspective would continue to shape his career in the years to come. By the time Keanu reached his 20s, he had already begun to develop the philosophy that would later become one of the hallmarks of his public persona. He was no longer the shy, uncertain teenager he had once been, but a young man who had learned to navigate the complexities of life and the entertainment industry. His journey of self-discovery, coupled with his passion for acting, had set him on a path toward success. But Keanu's story was far from over. As he entered adulthood, Keanu continued to face challenges, both personal and professional. But with each new obstacle, he grew more determined, more committed to his craft, and more aware of the importance of staying true to his values. His formative years, marked by a deep love for acting, a passion for sports, and a commitment to personal growth, had shaped him into the person he would become, a man who would go on to leave a lasting legacy in the entertainment industry and beyond. Keanu Reeves' journey from an aspiring actor to a rising star was not one of overnight success. As he transitioned from his early roles to becoming a household name, the pressures of fame and the challenges of carving out a successful career were ever present. It was during this time that Keanu's true character began to emerge, marked by a remarkable ability to handle setbacks with grace and a refusal to let the demands of fame overshadow his love for acting. In the late 1980s, after leaving his home country of Canada and heading to Hollywood, Keanu faced the daunting task of establishing himself in an industry where competition was fierce and opportunities often limited. His first significant breakthrough came with the 1989 comedy Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, a film that would not only introduce him to a wider audience, but would also become a defining moment in his career. In the film, Keanu played Ted Logan, a lovable and somewhat goofy character who, along with his best friend Bill, travels through time to pass their history exam. Though Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was a light-hearted, whimsical comedy, Keanu's portrayal of Ted resonated with audiences for its authenticity and charm. The film became a cult classic, and Keanu was thrust into the limelight. However, while the success of Bill and Ted brought him fame, it also brought new challenges that Keanu was not quite prepared for. The film's success catapulted him into a world where he was suddenly the subject of intense public scrutiny. The media attention, the relentless paparazzi, and the expectation to continue appearing in light-hearted comedies created a pressure that Keanu wasn't entirely comfortable with. Despite his rising star, Keanu faced a series of struggles in the industry. He found himself being typecast in similar roles, often playing the charming but somewhat aimless young man. This typecasting limited his opportunities, and Keanu began to feel trapped in a cycle of roles that didn't reflect his true abilities as an actor. He yearned to break free from the constraints of the characters he had become known for, but it was difficult to escape the expectations of Hollywood executives and fans who had come to associate him with a particular type of role. The years that followed Bill and Ted brought a series of both triumphs and disappointments. Keanu continued to take on roles in films that ranged from thrillers to comedies, but none of these projects seemed to capture the magic of his early success. Films like Point Break, 1991, and Speed, 1994, were successes, but Keanu was still grappling with the constant pressure of being in the spotlight. As he navigated the ups and downs of his career, Keanu began to experience the full force of the fame he had gained. The attention, both positive and negative, began to wear on him. However, it was during this period of career uncertainty that Keanu made some critical decisions about his future. He chose to step away from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood and take a more measured approach to his career. Rather than chase after fame for its own sake, Keanu decided to focus on roles that would challenge him as an actor and allow him to grow. He rejected the notion of becoming a typical action hero or romantic lead, choosing instead to explore more complex and diverse characters that allowed him to showcase his range. In the early 1990s, Keanu took on a variety of roles that were both unconventional and challenging. His role in My Own Private Idaho, 1991, directed by Gus Van Sant, marked a turning point in his career. The film, which explored themes of identity, love, and friendship, was a stark departure from the roles Keanu had previously taken. In it, he portrayed Scott Favor, a young man living on the streets who embarks on a journey of self-discovery. The role required Keanu to step outside his comfort zone, embracing a character that was emotionally complex and vulnerable. My Own Private Idaho received critical acclaim, and Keanu's performance was praised for its depth and sensitivity. The film not only marked a significant shift in the types of roles he was willing to take on, but also demonstrated his commitment to his craft. Keanu was no longer just an actor looking for fame or fortune. He was an artist who was willing to take risks in order to grow and evolve. This decision would define his career in the years to come, as he continued to focus on roles that challenged him both personally and professionally. As Keanu navigated the turbulence of his early career, he also had to contend with the pressures of fame. He often found himself in situations where the public's expectations for him were in direct conflict with his own desires and values. Keanu's quiet, introspective nature made him ill-suited for the public life that often comes with being a celebrity. Unlike many of his contemporaries who thrived on the attention and adoration of their fans, Keanu remained grounded and private. He valued his personal life and sought to keep it as separate as possible from his public persona. The media's obsession with his personal life only added to the pressures he faced. Paparazzi often followed him, and tabloids reported on every aspect of his life, from his relationships to his choice of vehicles. However, Keanu remained remarkably unfazed by the attention. Rather than lash out at the media or give in to the pressure to conform to Hollywood's standards, he simply retreated into his personal life, finding comfort in his friends, family, and passions outside of acting. He developed a reputation for being a humble, down-to-earth actor who didn't buy into the typical Hollywood lifestyle. Despite the challenges, Keanu's career continued to evolve. The success of Speed, in which he starred alongside Sandra Bullock, further solidified his status as a leading man. The film was a massive hit and earned Keanu widespread recognition. His portrayal of Jack Traven, a police officer tasked with stopping a bomb from exploding on a city bus, showed a different side of Keanu's acting ability. His performance was intense, but it still carried the same authenticity and emotional depth that had defined his earlier roles. As his fame grew, Keanu's desire to stay true to his values became more pronounced. He rejected the idea of becoming a mainstream Hollywood figure and chose instead to focus on projects that were meaningful to him. He took on roles that reflected his growing interest in philosophy, spirituality, and social issues. Keanu's career was no longer about the superficial trappings of fame. It was about using his platform to explore deeper questions about the human experience. During this period, Keanu also began to develop the deep sense of gratitude and perspective that would come to define his philosophy on life. The challenges of his early career had forced him to look inward and ask difficult questions about what truly mattered. He had learned that fame and success were fleeting, but the connections he made with others, the stories he told, and the impact he had on people's lives were far more important. This realization would shape his approach to both his career and his personal life for the rest of his journey. Though Keanu's early career was marked by struggles and setbacks, it was also a time of incredible growth and transformation. He learned to navigate the complexities of fame, handle the pressures of Hollywood, and stay true to his own values. The obstacles he faced only served to strengthen his resolve and deepen his understanding of what it meant to be an actor, a human being, and a person of integrity. Keanu Reeves' life has been marked by an impressive resilience in the face of personal tragedy. Throughout his career, Keanu has experienced profound loss, endured immense personal suffering, and navigated the delicate balance between public success and private grief. His journey through these hardships has not only shaped him as an actor, but has also influenced his worldview, personal philosophy, and approach to life. Rather than becoming hardened by his experiences, Keanu has demonstrated a deep sense of compassion, introspection, and an ever-developing emotional and spiritual maturity. Keanu's most heart-wrenching tragedy came in the early 2000s. In 1999, Keanu's then-girlfriend Jennifer Syme became pregnant with their child, a baby girl they named Ava. Tragically, Ava was stillborn, and the loss left Keanu devastated. The death of his child shattered him deeply, and it was a grief that would reverberate throughout his life. The sorrow he experienced over the loss of Ava was compounded by the fact that he was also grieving the loss of his relationship with Jennifer. The couple, who had been together for several years, tragically split shortly after Ava's death. For Keanu, this period was filled with a profound sense of pain and emptiness. It was during this time that Keanu withdrew from public life. He chose to retreat from the Hollywood spotlight, focusing on his own healing process. His grief was compounded by a sense of isolation, as Keanu was never one to lean on the media or public attention during personal struggles. Instead, he turned inward, relying on his close-knit group of friends, as well as his family, to support him through his darkest hours. As Keanu navigated his grief, he also found solace in the small and quiet moments of life. He began to value the simple things that brought him peace, from spending time with loved ones to engaging in his passion for motorcycles and photography. Despite his fame, Keanu remained disconnected from the superficiality of Hollywood culture. He preferred to keep a low profile, choosing authenticity over public image. This quiet, humble nature became an integral part of his identity as he moved through life's challenges. The impact of his personal losses did not only shape Keanu's personal life, but also his professional choices. Throughout his grief, Keanu continued to work, though he was selective about the projects he chose. He began to seek out roles that resonated deeply with his emotional state and values. For example, his role in The Gift, 2000, where he portrayed a man involved in a dark and tragic series of events, felt deeply personal to him. The film, which was largely focused on loss and spiritual transcendence, seemed to mirror Keanu's own internal struggles. In the aftermath of Ava's death, Keanu's perspective on life continued to evolve. He became more attuned to the idea of impermanence and the reality of suffering. In interviews, Keanu spoke candidly about the fragility of life and the importance of embracing both joy and sorrow. He began to recognize that grief, while painful, was also an integral part of the human experience. It was in the midst of loss that Keanu began to reflect deeply on the nature of existence and how important it was to live authentically. In the years following the tragedy of Ava's death, Keanu faced additional emotional burdens. In 2001, Jennifer Syme, still struggling with the aftermath of their loss, tragically passed away in a car accident. The emotional toll on Keanu was overwhelming. In a short period of time, he had experienced the heartbreak of losing his child, the dissolution of his relationship, and the untimely death of Jennifer. The combination of these losses left Keanu reeling, and yet his response to the tragedy continued to reflect his resilience and introspective nature. Keanu's grief was not something he sought to escape. Instead, he embraced it as part of his journey. He understood that pain, just like happiness, was transient, and that the key to navigating life was not to avoid suffering, but to accept it and learn from it. This acceptance became the foundation of Keanu's emotional and spiritual growth. Rather than retreating further from the world, he chose to channel his pain into his work and personal life, focusing on cultivating empathy and understanding for others. Keanu's approach to dealing with personal tragedies was, and still is, deeply introspective. His grief did not transform him into a bitter or jaded individual. Instead, it deepened his emotional intelligence and his capacity for compassion. He became more attuned to the suffering of others, both in his personal life and through his work. In interviews, Keanu often expressed the importance of not allowing pain to define him. Instead, he chose to allow it to inform his life, teaching him valuable lessons about vulnerability, resilience, and the importance of connection with others. In addition to his personal losses, Keanu also encountered challenges in his professional life. At one point in his career, Keanu faced significant financial difficulties due to a series of poor investments and unsuccessful ventures. Despite the financial strain, Keanu maintained a steadfast focus on his passion for acting, choosing not to prioritize wealth over personal fulfillment. He had always been more concerned with the art of acting than with the trappings of fame, and this mindset continued to serve him well as he worked through his struggles. In the face of adversity, Keanu's response was never one of self-pity or despair. Instead, he focused on finding meaning in his pain. This ability to persevere through life's challenges with grace is one of the defining characteristics of Keanu's journey. As he reflected on his experiences, he also began to understand the importance of service to others. Whether through his work or his philanthropic efforts, Keanu dedicated himself to making a positive impact on the world around him. His charitable contributions, including significant donations to children's hospitals and cancer research, were done quietly and without fanfare, reflecting his belief that good deeds should not require recognition. As he emerged from this period of personal tragedy, Keanu developed a greater understanding of the fleeting nature of life. His experiences with loss and grief led him to reflect on what truly matters: human connection, love, and the ability to find peace amidst suffering. These values shaped not only his personal philosophy, but also his approach to his relationships with others. Keanu's vulnerability and openness about his grief allowed him to connect with others on a deeper level. And this connection became one of the most enduring aspects of his character. Keanu's journey through personal tragedy and emotional growth has made him one of the most beloved and respected figures in Hollywood. His ability to endure loss, remain grounded, and find meaning in pain has endeared him to fans around the world. Rather than letting his grief define him, Keanu chose to transform it into a source of strength and wisdom. Today, he is seen not only as an actor, but as a person who exemplifies resilience, compassion, and emotional maturity in the face of life's most difficult challenges. Keanu Reeves is not only known for his exceptional acting, but also for his deeply philosophical outlook on life. As he has grown both as an individual and as a public figure, Keanu's reflections on topics such as success, kindness, and presence have shaped his approach to fame and his interactions with others. Keanu's philosophy is deeply rooted in the lessons he has learned from both his personal and professional life. He often speaks with great sincerity and humility about the principles that guide him, emphasizing the importance of staying true to oneself, being kind to others, and embracing the impermanence of life. One of the most prominent aspects of Keanu's philosophy is his belief in the importance of kindness. Throughout his career, Keanu has gained a reputation for being one of the most genuinely kind and down-to-earth celebrities in Hollywood. He is known for his generosity, humility, and sincere respect for others. Whether it is his quiet philanthropy, his thoughtful gestures on set, or his interactions with fans, Keanu demonstrates that kindness is not just a surface-level trait, but a core principle that guides his actions. Keanu's belief in kindness extends beyond the superficial acts of charity and generosity. It is rooted in a deep understanding of the human experience. Keanu has often spoken about how he values the relationships he forms with others and how important it is to connect on a human level. He recognizes that success and fame are fleeting, but the bonds we form with others are what truly define our lives. Whether interacting with a fan on the street or sharing a moment with a colleague, Keanu treats everyone with the same level of respect and consideration. In addition to kindness, Keanu's philosophy also emphasizes the importance of presence. He is someone who is deeply in tune with the present moment and has an uncanny ability to be fully engaged with whatever he is doing. This quality, often referred to as mindfulness, is something that Keanu has cultivated over the years, both in his personal life and in his career. Keanu has often stated that he does not like to dwell on the past or worry about the future. Instead, he prefers to focus on the here and now, understanding that the present moment is all we truly have. This philosophy of living in the present is reflected in Keanu's approach to acting. When he takes on a role, Keanu immerses himself fully in the character and the story, leaving behind any external distractions. His ability to be fully present in his work has led to some of his most memorable performances, as his authenticity and emotional depth resonate with audiences. Keanu's approach to acting is not about seeking fame or accolades. It is about creating something meaningful and truthful in the moment. This commitment to presence extends to his everyday life as well, where he values his time with loved ones, his quiet moments of reflection, and his pursuit of passions like photography and motorcycle riding.